everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're one of my subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing and coming back to watch this video. So the video that I have for you today is all about Scentsy's holiday bricks. I have warmed all of them. I have been warming them for a while now. I have given each one a fair chance. I've warmed them in the open concept here with the really tall ceilings. I've also warmed them in bathrooms. I've warmed them in bedrooms. I've given them all a fair chance, and so I've written down lots of notes. I have lots of opinions and thoughts about them, so I'm just gonna share what I thought about everything. Just to go ahead and say, in case you missed the cold sniff review of these, you can go back and watch that, but these bricks are Scentsy's holiday bricks, and they are going to be available October 14th. So if you're a consultant, you have a consultant perk where you can go get the bundle of all 5 bricks, all 5 of them for $100. You can't just buy 1 or 2. If you want to go ahead and get the bricks early, you do have to purchase all 5 for the $100. But you can do that if you're a consultant. It's just an early access thing. Or you can wait until October 14th and you can purchase the bricks either 1 for $24, 2 for $40, or you can also purchase all 5 for $100 October 14th. Another option, if you do not want to invest in one of these large Christmas bricks, which is about almost 5 bars of wax, so it's almost 5 of these regular bars of wax. If you don't want to invest in this much wax because you're not sure if you'll like the scent or not, October 14th, you can add regular size bars of these scents to your Scentsy Club, and you can ship it out that way. You can either add it to your existing club and wait for it to ship later, or if you want to go ahead and get it right away, you can create a new club October 14th, get you the bars of these scents, and go ahead and get that to you. Okay, so first and foremost, let's talk about my absolute favorite. So this is the Salted Caramel Cider, and this was my #1 favorite on cold sniffs, and I have to say that did not change at all. This is my absolute favorite one. I absolutely love this scent. I love this brick so much. This brick is just amazing. So I did warm a pretty good bit. I mean, for me here in this open concept, I usually do about 2-3 cubes, depending on the scent, depending on how well of a performer it is. And I just put just a little bit in each one of my warmers, all in the kitchen. Like I just kind of scatter it around everywhere. And that gives me a better scent experience than just turning on 1 or 2 warmers and using, 4 cubes. I just seem to get better performance that way. And I prefer that. So with this one here, I used the whole stump piece right here, this whole piece right here. I'm really not sure exactly how much that would be in a regular bar, but I did do that. I kind of put that all around the room in all kinds of warmers, and it was amazing. Okay. This brick smells delicious. It smells good enough to eat or drink. It's absolutely beautiful. It is buttery. The caramel in this, there's something about this caramel that is in this brick. It is unlike any other caramel that I've smelled from Scentsy. It is a buttery caramel. There's also the salt in here, which keeps it from being overly sweet. So it is a buttery caramel. It also has the apple, and the apple, in my opinion, is more of like a green, juicy, maybe leaning towards like a tart apple. And it is absolutely so beautiful with the buttery sweet caramel mixed in there. Now, the cider, okay, it does say it has cider, and I can smell a little bit of cider. You can definitely smell like the freshness of like fresh pressed apple cider, but it's not overpowering cider. It's not like super spicy cider. It's not anything aggressive, in my opinion. It is just like a subtle cider note to it. It's mostly a caramel apple, in my opinion, with a little bit of the cider spices. It is absolutely beautiful. I love this brick so much. Now, I did warm it here in the open concept, and it lasted for about 1.5 days, which is a little better than average for me because usually average bars perform for 24 hours in this big open concept here. Now, when I say 24 hours, that means I left my warmers on for 24 hours and just let it run for the whole 24 hours. if you're someone who just runs your warmers for, you know, a couple hours at a time, then obviously it would last longer than one day for you. But for me, I let it run for the whole 24 hours. And it was strong. I mean, it was strong pretty much the whole time. I did notice that it got lighter after the 24 hours. So it went about 1.5 days. And, you know, after that, it did start to taper off. But it's so pretty. The caramel is not one of those burnt caramels. There's no toastiness to this brick whatsoever. It's gorgeous. It's just absolutely, I have it going right now, so I don't even need to smell this. It's all in my warmers right now because I have not been able to stop warming this. I love it. So I have still warmed more of it. I did put it in the bathrooms. Now in the bathroom, it's a little bit stronger in the bathroom. So I could see this going for 2 days in the bathroom. Obviously, after the 24 hours, it is going to get lighter, but it did perform well in there. Now, this is not a very intense scent. It's not anything super strong, so I wouldn't expect it to be that, but it's still there. It's beautiful, and this is definitely going in my club. In fact, I'll go over the ranking of these bricks at the end, but I'm definitely going to be grabbing some more of this in the bricks for sure. So I'm going to look at my notes here because I just don't want to miss anything. I did compare this. I will say, I remember I compared this to the current Caramel Apple Craze. Okay, Caramel Apple Craze is one of my favorite current bars as well. That bar is in the current catalog. In fact, let me go grab a bar of that real quick. Okay, so I'm back now. That took way longer than it needed to. You know how like when you're looking for something, it's just not where you thought it was, or, you know, like when you need something, you just can't seem to find it. But I did find a bar of the Caramel Apple Craze. So I did warm this and compared it to this one. And I have to say, the Caramel Apple Craze, I love this scent. I love this scent. I use it every year. This is a bar that I can warm year round if I want to, just because I love apple scents. But I do love warming this one in the fall. Now, it has the Caramel Apple Craze. I mean, that's what it says, caramel apple. However, this one reminds me more of a candy apple, like a red candy apple with caramel also in it. So even though it is like a caramel apple, it also reminds me of like candy apples from the fair and that sort of thing. And this one is pretty sweet. And there's not a whole lot of caramel in this one, in my opinion. There is a little bit, but the caramel in this one and the sweetness, it's just more on the sweet side. Whereas this salted caramel cider, in my opinion, is more of like a green apple. It has more of the saltiness and the buttery caramel. I can't explain this. Caramel is different to me, and it just smells delicious. It just smells like something you could drink or eat. It's amazing. I love it. So even though I still love this Caramel Apple Craze, neither or replace each other for me. Like, to me, it's still two separate scents, because this one, like I said, is more of a red apple. It's sweeter. This one's more of like a saltiness with a green apple and the caramel, and more, I don't know, it smells crisper and it smells juicy. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This is so well blended. I was just amazed by this one. So I still love both of these. If you had to choose between the two, I really don't know. I think it would depend on your scent preferences of whether you like a lot of caramel or you rather one that's more sweet. So I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pick a favorite between these two. I love both of them. My husband thought this one. So my husband, he has trouble smelling scents. He loves like super sweet scents. He does like bakery scents, but he likes more scents like the Angel Bar, the Disney Angel Bar. He loves that one. He loves Banana Berry. He loves Blueberry Rush. Like, he likes scents that have like a sugary note to them. So when he smelled this one, he did really like it, but to him, it just kind of smelled like an apple. That's all he really said about it. But he did like it, so that's good for me. Because him and I, sometimes we don't agree on scents all the time, but this one, I'm going to be warming a lot of this one, so I need him to love it. Okay, so there was a slight tartness to it as it started warming, but I feel like that kind of went away the longer that it warmed in the warmers. I still smelled that juicy apple throughout it warming all the way through. And I still smelled that beautiful caramel. It lasted all the way through. It never got a toasty note. It never got a burnt note to it. It was perfect. I loved it so much. The vanilla bean. So I probably should have mentioned the description. The description of this salted caramel cider is salted caramel and sweet vanilla bean add warmth and complexity to fresh pressed apple cider. So definitely salted caramel. You can smell it. It's great. The fresh pressed apple cider is definitely there. Like I said, it's a little bit on the lighter side with the cider, but it definitely smells like fresh. Now it mentions adding warmth and complexity. I can see how this would be like adding warmth. This is definitely more of a fall bar in my opinion, even though I'm going to be warming this one in the winter. I'm going to be warming this one all year round, definitely. But complexity, I wouldn't say it's a super complex scent. What I would say is just like a beyond normal balanced scent. It is so balanced and perfectly blended in my opinion. That's what I love about it. The vanilla bean, I don't really smell. I think the vanilla bean that's in here is helping make everything smell smooth and balanced. So I'm not able to really pick out an individual like vanilla bean scent. But it's beautiful. I just smell mostly that beautiful caramel. Like I said, the apple spice is definitely on the gentle side. You can smell that fresh apple cider and then just a little bit of the spices in there. Nothing overpowering. And then you also smell that crispiness, like from a crisp, juicy apple. It's just a gorgeous and balanced brick. And I'm so glad that they gave us this scent because it is one of my absolute favorites now. And I'm going to be warming this one all the time. So I'm very, very excited for this one. Love it. So the next one I have here is the Christmas tree scent. So that's this one. So I've used both pieces here. I did this one in the open concept. I did really, really love this one. All right, so the description for this one says, fresh air and pine needles swirl through a pine wood forest. Now, when I smelled it on cold sniff, I was like, oh, this is a good, pine scent. It wasn't anything sharp. I was like, this is going to be a great mixer. And that's how it warms, okay? But the beauty of this brick is it's just a solid pine scent. It's absolutely beautiful. It's elegant and beautiful, but in a simple kind of way. There's nothing in this brick that's like sharp to me. And I love that about it. I am not one that likes sharp scents, pine scents, anything like that has really sharp notes. I just can't do those. And so this one is not a super, super strong bar, even though it's a great performer. It's not a in-your-face, super strong bar with any kind of overpowering sharpness. And I love that about it. I love it. Originally, I was like, oh, it reminds me of Very Snowy Spruce. But Very Snowy Spruce, I brought a bar of that over here. It definitely has just a little bit of a sharpness to it, even though I love Very Snowy Spruce. I mean, this is one of my favorite pine scents. So they're not as alike as I thought they were. They're not as similar as I thought they were. This Christmas tree scent, I could see how some consultants would be like, it's just plain, it's just a regular one. But until you warm it, it's beautiful. This is going to be such a great mixer. I'm going to mix this with so much stuff because, if you want it to be a little spicy, you can mix something with cinnamon. If you want it to have a little bit of fruit to it, you can mix something that's fruity. There's nothing exactly surprising about this one, I wouldn't say. I mean, it's beautiful, but there's nothing about it that's, like you start warming it and there's a note that you weren't expecting to smell. It's just pretty. It's a solid performer in my opinion. So I would not say that this one necessarily smells like a Christmas tree. I wouldn't say necessarily that it's a Christmas scent. I would say that it's more of a all-around winter type scent because it even mentions pinewood forest. It does give me like a wintry type forest scent. That's what it reminds me of. So definitely all through, winter, this is a great one. It's extremely balanced, just beautifully balanced. Love that about it. It's not offensive. It's not overpowering. It's not aggressive like some pine scents can be. It's not complex at all, in my opinion. It's just perfectly blended. It's also, and this is so strange to say about a pine scent because I'm not really a fan of the woodsy scents. And usually I don't go for scents like this that are just straight pine. I always mix them with something, or I go for the pine scents like Sleigh Ride or the Disney one. Like I have it right here, the Season of Magic one, this one that has like sweet notes in it and it has a sweetness to it. I normally go for ones like that. So normally this isn't my thing, but I love that it's got like a calmingness to it, which is, it's crazy to say that there's a pine scent that can also be calming, because usually they're sharp or they have something in them that doesn't give me that kind of vibe unless I mix it with something. But there's an element to this one that was relaxing and calming and cozy, even though it's a pine scent. So I loved that about this one. Now, it performed pretty average in my opinion here in the open concept. It definitely went for the 24 hours. I don't think it really went much past that, but that's because the intensity of this bar, in my opinion, is not like really strong. But for the 24 hours, I feel like it was pretty, it stayed with the same intensity for the 24 hours, and it didn't ever really get a whole lot lighter. Maybe kind of towards the end of the 24 hours, it was getting just a little bit lighter. Now, in the bathrooms and in a small bedroom, it would probably go at least a day and a half, maybe 2 days, depending on how large the bedroom is. It's just lighter. Don't expect it to be anything super, super strong, but like I said, it's beautiful and it's relaxing, and I just love this one. If you're someone who likes lighter scents, I mean, obviously you still want it there. It's still a good performer. You just don't like aggressive scents. This one, it was fantastic. I can't really say that this is my all-time favorite pine scent ever, because it's not. But at the same time, it's different in the fact that it's perfect for mixing. It's relaxing. It's calming. It's something I could throw in my warmers at any time during the winter. And I feel like this would be a great scent. Like if you have company coming over, but you're not sure like what scents they like, it's not anything super aggressive. So this one is definitely going in my club. Absolutely. I cannot wait to warm this one around the holidays. I can't wait to mix it with all kinds of things. I can't wait to see how it does. So this one is a win for me. I will definitely, like I said already, I know that I'm going to be purchasing another brick of this one, and I'll definitely get another brick of this one, and definitely going in my club. So this one was definitely a win. Okay, so then we have Warm Winter Night. Now this one was that beautiful blue color that reminds me of the Peaks and Pines bar. I really loved this color. It was absolutely beautiful in the warmers. This description says, curl up with hearty bourbon, sweetened with a dash of citrus and brown sugar. Now, when I smelled it on cold, I didn't really smell a whole lot of citrus. I really didn't smell the brown sugar that much. And honestly, I didn't really smell the bourbon. It was just a strange bar. It was pretty, but I couldn't figure out what scent category is this. You know, is it citrus? Is it fresh? Is it bakery? It's not really bakery. It was just complex, and I just couldn't figure it out, so I couldn't wait to warm it. I have to say, I've warmed this one several times, because this is still a really hard brick and scent to figure out. It's really difficult to figure this out. I still can't figure out, is it citrus or is it fresh? I think it's one of those two, because there's no way it could be bakery. I just don't think it could be bakery. It's definitely not spice. I don't think it's woodsy. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. There's not that much citrus. So if it's citrus, it's hardly citrus. But also, if it's fresh, it's not exactly all fresh, because it has a prettiness to it, and then almost like a body care kind of feel to it. I don't know. I'm still confused by this one. There is a slight sweetness, but it's not overly sugary. It's bakery in no way. Okay, it's not a bakery scent, in my opinion, at all. It says it has brown sugar, and so I was expecting more sweetness to come out with this one, and it just wasn't. It just wasn't there. If anything, it leans more towards like some sort of body spray, in my opinion, with like a slight sweetness. But is that sweetness brown sugar? I don't know. I couldn't figure it out. It does have a little bit of like a cozy feel, in my opinion. And I could see how maybe it would lean a little bit wintry, but I also could see how people would warm this year round if they really loved it. I do feel like it's more of a bedroom scent, maybe bathrooms, but more of a bedroom scent. Okay, so when it started warming, there was a smell that I could not figure out what it was. And it's either like a slight bitter orange, but there's also a smell that smelled kind of like rubber tires or plastic that I couldn't get past. Okay, like once I smelled that, that's all I smell. And so now even when I go back and smell it cold, that's the note that I smell. That rubber tire smell or the bitter orange or plastic, whatever that note is, once I smelled it when it was warming, now I smell it cold. It's not like in your face strong or anything. It's like in the background. And then when it's warming, you just get a whiff of it every once in a while. And I don't really care for that, whatever that is, but I can't figure out what it is. And it comes and goes. It's not like something that just stays with the scent the whole time. There's no spice to this at all. So this isn't really technically a scent that I would warm a whole lot of. It's, well, first of all, I can't figure out what category it is. But I mean, I do like citrus. I do like fruity. I do like, love my spicy scents, love bakery. It's just none of those. So I don't really know. I liked it. I didn't love it. I can warm the rest of this. I mean, it's pleasant. It's not anything unpleasant except for that rubber tire note that I smell every once in a while when it's warming. But it's not like I smell it the whole time. And honestly, I think that scent starts to come out after it's been in the warmers for a couple of hours. This one was pretty strong in my opinion. Here in the open concept, it was pretty average. But when I put it in the bathroom, it was pretty strong. In here in the open concept, it was 1.5 days. Okay. And it pretty much stayed that intensity the whole time. It got a little bit lighter after the 24 hours, just a little bit. In the bathrooms, and small bedrooms, I think that this could go 2 days, honestly. Maybe it would get a little bit lighter, like I said, after the 24 hours. But I mean, it was a pretty good performer. The bourbon. Okay. I don't smell bourbon in this brick. At least I don't smell the type of bourbon that they put in other bars, because bourbon, sometimes I like the bourbon in their bars, but usually I don't really like those bourbon notes. This is not a boozy type scent whatsoever, and I don't smell the bourbon. I don't understand the description for this brick. I feel like the description is off because there's something else in this that they didn't say is in this, or I don't know. I need a better description is basically how I feel with this brick, because this description I feel like isn't it. It's too hard to explain, and there is something in here that smells familiar, but I can't figure out what it is. Like I said, there is a citrusy note, but there's also like this bitter orange type note to it. There was also a point as this one kept warming in the warmers that I started smelling. It almost smelled like a really strong, bitter type of tea that had like a citrus note in it. So the tea note is just like a strong, bittery type of herbal tea. I wouldn't say that it's like a spicy tea. So that tea note kind of makes it feel a little bit on the cozy side as well. So it's just an all-around unique brick. I could see how there's lots of people out there who love this one. For me, it was not a favorite. Like I said, I will warm through the rest of this. I don't have a problem warming it. I won't warm it out here in the open concept just because it's not really something I want to smell all the time. But I could see warming this one in the bathroom or a laundry room, or we have a finished basement. I could, warm it somewhere like that where you're not smelling it all the time and you just kind of smell it as you go in that area. That's kind of how this scent is for me. So that's my thoughts on this one. I don't know if that can help some people because this one is truly unique. And I feel like everyone is going to smell something different with this one because it is very complex and it's not really a specific category in my opinion. This would be a hard one to put in a category. I have no idea what it would be. So there's that. I will not be adding that one to club. I don't think I'll purchase any more of that one for me personally. I do think it's pretty, like I said. It's just not one that I think that I will ever reach for. All right, so this next one is the Butterscotch Brittle. Now for this one, I warmed a pretty good bit of this one. I warmed it several times. This is also a unique scent. Okay, it's very, very unique. I wasn't sure what to expect with this one. When I smelled it on cold sniffs, I was definitely not sure what to expect. And the description says, a sprinkle of crushed peppermint brings a festive flair to decadent butterscotch, buttery caramel, and creamy vanilla. So that's not really something that you normally hear of like being put together. And so I wasn't sure what to expect when it was going to warm. Is it going to smell sweeter? Is the butterscotch going to come out? You can definitely smell the peppermint. And when I smelled it on cold sniff, the first time I didn't smell the smokiness. But then as the cold sniff video went on, if you watch that video, you know when I picked it up the second time, I smelled a smokiness to this brick. And once you smell that smokiness, that's what you smell. So when this warms, that's like the main thing that I smelled in this brick was this smokiness. Now, I wouldn't say that it's a bad thing, okay? At first, the first time that I warmed it, I was like, oh no, because I got like a little bit of a headache, but I'd already had just a tad bit of a headache before I started warming it. So I did warm it another time to give it another chance. But that first time, I used too much. I used too much wax. I had it in here. And even though it's not a super strong scent, the smokiness is intense in it. And I feel like that was too much for me. So the second time I used less wax. I liked it better that way. Even though, okay, so the peppermint, okay, you can definitely smell the peppermint. But as it's warming, the peppermint, in my opinion, isn't as strong as it smells on cold. It's because this smokiness kind of takes over. But there's also a cinnamon note to this, and it's more like a red hot cinnamon. It's barely there, but it's there, and it mixes with the smokiness, and it's different. Like, it gives it a cozy feel, okay? If it was cold outside, I could see how that would be when I would grab this, because it gives it like a warm type of cozy, just a tad bit spicy feel to it, because right now it's still warm here and it felt kind of heavy when I was warming it. There is a hint of a sweetness when I first started warming it, but that kind of also kind of like warms off. I really don't notice that much after the initial like first hour of warming it. It says it has buttery caramel. Now, yes, I can smell a little bit of caramel. It's not like super buttery, not like the salted caramel cider. That's like super buttery. Okay, so the butter in this one is not really there that much, but the caramel in this one I feel like is more of like a toasted type caramel. And I don't know if that has to do with the smokiness that's here. There were several times that I kept thinking I was smelling a toasted marshmallow. And it wasn't like for the whole duration of warming this. It was just like every once in a while I would be like, oh, that kind of smells like a toasted marshmallow. The butterscotch, maybe the butterscotch is kind of toasted as well, because I really don't smell much butterscotch. But what I do smell smells like more on like a toasted, not burnt, but more on a toasted side. There's also the minty freshness, which gives it kind of a coolness, but also it's got the warmth, like I said, that from the cinnamon and the smoke. So it's really strange. It's unique how this kind of all goes together. The mint is not strong though, in my opinion. However, the second time that I was warming this, I also warmed it in a bathroom, and I took a shower. When I got out of the shower, because when you're in the shower, you're smelling other scents. You're smelling your shampoo, your shower gel, and all that. When I got out of the shower and went back into the bathroom area, I could smell all the notes in this brick that I had kind of like went nosebleed to, that I didn't smell before I got in the shower. So I was able to smell the mint. I was able to smell more of like the caramel and the toasted type butterscotch. And then after a while, like I couldn't smell it again. So that part of it is unique to me. Like when you come in and out of the room of like wherever this is warming, you're able to smell more of the mint. Whereas when I'm in the room with it, the only thing that I'm really smelling is the smokiness. I don't smell much of the mint or the other notes. I smell mostly the smokiness and a little bit of that red hot cinnamon, with just a hint of a sweetness. So I wish that I smelled less of that smokiness, in my opinion. I like the bar. I wouldn't say that I necessarily love the bar. I feel like it needs something else. I'm going to mix it, because I feel like maybe it just needs to be mixed with something to find, I don't know, to make it more like something that I would really like. I don't know how I can tone down the smokiness, because that's really what I wish wasn't there quite as much. I wish you smelled more of the butterscotch and the caramel, and maybe just a tad bit more of the mint. It's not, and I don't know what category this one really is either, because the description doesn't mention spices, so I wouldn't think it would be spice. Is it bakery? Because in my opinion, it doesn't exactly smell bakery. You don't really smell the butteriness. You smell the mint, but the smokiness, I would think the smokiness, in my opinion, makes it less of a bakery, but I'm not sure. Now, there have been smoky bars that I've smelled before that almost turn and kind of, they can kind of smell like cigarette smoke as they're warming. Fortunately, I didn't get that from this bar, but I could see how there would be some people who this might smell like a cigarette type smoke to them, just because there is a lot of it. And I didn't even initially smell the smokiness when I first picked up this brick and smelled it until the second time I smelled it. So definitely unique. Definitely different. My husband struggled to even smell this one. I don't know why he couldn't smell this one the day that it was warming, but he just smelled like a little bit of a mintiness, and he could smell a little bit of the smokiness, but it wasn't strong to him, which in my opinion was strange. But again, my husband sometimes struggles to smell scents unless they're like super sweet. Like I said, it wasn't super, super strong. Aside from the smokiness, I would say that in here, it lasted for a day. It definitely lasted for the 24 hours. I feel like it would go further and last a day and a half. It might even last 2 days if you just want it to be like lots of smokiness. But I feel like pretty much everything else is gone in the scent. Even if I walk out of the room and come back in after it's been 24 hours, I really don't smell much of anything besides like this heavy kind of smokiness. I do think in the bathroom you probably could go at least 2 days with this one, but I don't know that you would want to, just because it's a lot of smokiness. What room would be best for this? I don't know. I could see myself putting this in a bedroom if you want something cozy, if you want something that feels warm. But I wouldn't probably put this in the bathroom again, in my opinion. I would either put it like in an open area like this or a bedroom. And it performed okay in here. It was definitely over average, but I think this is one of the lighter ones, in my opinion, but still above average. Still a great performer. If you think these scent notes sound like something you would like and you want to try something unique, then I say give it a try for sure. I will definitely warm the rest of this. I'm not sure that I will purchase more of this one. I'm going to try mixing this one with some bakery scents that I have. I'm going to try mixing it with Churro Churro that I have in my club. And I'm going to try mixing it with, some scents that have vanilla in them, and maybe even vanilla bean buttercream, something like that, to see if that kind of helps turn this into more of a bakery. Maybe I will like it better that way, because as it is right here, it just needs something else. I need something to help distract me from the smokiness of this one. So depending on how the mixes go will depend on whether I'll grab any more of this one, because this will last a while. I did not have to use nearly as much of this one as I did the other ones, just because of the smokiness that was there. Like I said, that first time it was starting to give me a little bit of a headache. So the second time I did less. Okay, so there's that one. The last one here is Wrapped in Lights. Wrapped in Lights. So if you watched the cold snip video, you know this was my second favorite. I absolutely love this brick. All right, so the description of this one says, sparkling lemon and pomegranate glow with a zesty mix of mulled spices. And this one is spicy. I love spicy scents, and this one did not disappoint on that for sure. Now, the only thing about this one is the lemon. The lemon is pretty prominent in this one. There's like a citrus type note to this. In a way, I kind of wish that lemon was more of an orange, just because I like lemon. I don't know. I can't say that. Okay, I do like the lemon in it. Maybe if it was lemon and orange, I would like it even more, but I love it just the way that it is. But it's pretty strong in here. It gives it definitely like a zesty type zing to it. It's a little bit on the sharp side, and this one is strong. This one is strong, in my opinion. My husband, even this one right here, I had it in the warmers. It had already been in the warmers for 6 hours. He got up that next morning to go to work and walked through the living room and was like, whoa, what is that? It's so strong. So it like hit him in the face and was still strong after 6 hours. So this is definitely a strong one. I think really though what it was is it's that zesty type citrus, kind of a little bit on the sharp side, that was, that he just noticed immediately. He did like the scent. I just think that I need to use less of it. So this, in my opinion, is definitely a strong bar. This last 2 days here in the open concept, at least, I probably could have kept it a little bit longer than that, but by that point it was getting a little bit faint. So it does start to taper off just a little bit after the 1.5 days, but it's still such a good performer. This is such a great bar. I put it in the bathroom and the bedroom, and it's even stronger there. So maybe I took it out after 2 days. I feel like you might get a little bit more time than that if you don't mind it being a little bit more on the faint side. But it's beautiful. It's got lots of spices. So if you're not a fan of spices, I don't think this will be one that you'll like. I also don't think that if you don't like citrus type scents, like if you don't like lemon, I'm not sure that you would like it either, because there is a pretty good bit of that in here. It's definitely a powerhouse. I will say that. I think this brick will last me a pretty long time just because I won't need to use much. So even though I do plan on grabbing another brick of this, I don't think that I'll need to grab as much as like I want to grab with the salted caramel cider, because like that one, I used a normal amount of wax like I would normally use, and this one I can stretch it a little bit further. Now, there is some similarity between this one and Holly Jolly Cider. So I brought Holly Jolly Cider over here. Let me see. Now, Holly Jolly Cider has more of a green note. I don't have that description in front of me. I don't even know what that actual description is, but there is more of like some sort of green, pine tree, evergreen, something like that note in this one. And you really don't have much of that here, but I will say, as this is warming, there is a hint of a tree to this one. Just barely there, like in the background, you kind of can notice it. It definitely smells like a traditional type Christmas scent. I think this is the most holiday one out of the bunch, aside from, the pine one that obviously you could, that one's kind of wintry though, but definitely could warm it around the holidays. This one to me reminds me more of Christmas than the rest of them. I think if it had oranges though, instead of the lemon, it would remind me even more of Christmas. The lemon gives it more of a brighter type feel. Like I said, gives it that zestiness. And so because of that, I feel like I could still warm this one year round if I really, really wanted to. I'm not sure that I will. I might could mix it with a few things, but I just love spicy scents. So if I was craving something spicy, but also that zingy type note to it, I feel like I could warm this one. Now, the holiday market from the 5-bar holiday collection, that one is also a bright type of zingy type tangy fragrance too, in my opinion. But I don't think it has as much spice as this one. This one has a lot of spice. So if you want one with a lot of spice, get this one for sure. The mulled spices do not disappoint. It's very, very good. So another really interesting thing about this Wrapped in Lights that I was so excited about is I put it in one of my warmers. One of the warmers that I had it in had a little bit of like that brown gunkiness in it from where I had warmed fried ice cream that's in my club. And fried ice cream, if you don't know this, but that bar, anytime you warm that scent, it just turns the dishes brown and gunky. So I'm sure it's like the cinnamon or something like that in it, but it turns my dishes gunky every time. You can just use it one time and it turns it brown. The dish that had that, I put this in that dish, and when I went to wipe this scent out, it took all that brown gunkiness out of my dish and cleaned my dish perfectly. Like it was perfectly clean. And the only other bar, there have been a couple that do that. I know for sure Black Raspberry Vanilla does that. I know a lot of consultants know about that trick, that if you put Black Raspberry Vanilla in your dishes, it can clean that brown gunkiness off the dishes for you. You can also use, I know consultants use hand sanitizer. You can use the counter clean. You can use, I like to use rubbing alcohol, but obviously to be safe, you need to make sure you take the dish off the warmer, turn the warmer off, or let your dish cool before you use the rubbing alcohol or anything like that. But the black raspberry vanilla, for anybody that uses the black raspberry vanilla to clean their dishes, you can do that with this one as well. It worked great. I was not expecting that, so I was pleasantly surprised that this is another one of those that clean your dishes. Maybe it was just a one-time fluke thing. I haven't done it again, but it did. It cleaned that dish perfectly. It was fantastic. So I was like, just another reason to love this one. So I don't know. I love this one. This one, I'm going to definitely grab another brick of this one. I think what I'm going to do is do 2 packs of the 40, and I'm going to get 2 more of the salted caramel cider, and then I'm going to get a 2-pack of the bricks. That's 1 more Christmas tree and 1 more of the wrapped in lights. So I don't think I'm going to get any more of the butterscotch brittle or the warm winter night. I just won't. If I don't end up getting more bricks, like if I don't get the 2 different bundles of bricks, then I'll just add a bunch of them to club and then have them in the small bar form, because I really did love these. And I feel like this one is also a really good mixer. I did not mix these 2 yet, but I'm going to mix these and see how they do. The Christmas tree and the wrapped in lights, I'm definitely going to do that. I feel like this is going to be a really great combination here, especially around the holidays. And this wrapped in lights, I'm going to mix it with a few things. I'm not sure how well this one will do with like some bakery scents mixed with it, but we're going to try and we're going to see how that does. So as far as my ranking goes, obviously this salted caramel cider is still number 1. It is dear to my heart, and it is going to stay number 1 for sure. Number 2 is wrapped in lights. This one was absolutely gorgeous and definitely a powerhouse, but you have to like spices for this one. Number 3 is different this time. It's going to be a Christmas tree. So I believe number 3 in the cold sniffs was the butterscotch brittle. So this time, number 3 for me is Christmas tree, because this is an absolutely gorgeous Christmas tree scent. I was pleasantly surprised. When you first smell it, you just think it's going to be like a solid, plain type of pine, but it's definitely elegant and in a simple type of way. And it's just beautiful. I really enjoyed this one, mostly because it's just not super sharp and it does have that relaxing type feel to it. So 4th place, I'm going to give it to the butterscotch brittle. Even though the smokiness I don't really care for, I preferred it over this one. I preferred it over the warm winter night. I feel like I will warm this one more than this one. Now, I don't think this would be one that I would warm if I have company coming over. Like if I had someone coming over and I'm just not sure what their scent preferences are, you know, I just don't think this would be one. Well, I feel like this is going to be one of those scents where some people are just really not going to like it. It's going to be the smokiness is just not going to agree with a lot of people. And I wouldn't want to cause any type of headaches. So I feel like this one is just one that I will warm every once in a while. Like if I just feel like I want something that kind of gives a cozy type of smoky vibe, like you have like a fire going and then also like some scents going. And I'm hoping that when I mix it with some bakery, it's going to smell better that way. So I'll give that one 4th place. And then coming in last place for me is the warm winter night. Now, this is still a beautiful bar. This is a beautiful scent. I know that there's going to be plenty of people out there that love this one because it does smell pretty. It really does. But there is just a little bit of a sharpness to this one too that I don't care for. And there's whatever that note is that I can't get past that almost smells like a rubber tire or plastic burning that I just can't get past, or like a bitter type orange that's burning. There's just something in there. And once you smell it, like once I've smelled it, I can't forget it. And that's just all I can smell now when it's warming. But I will continue to warm some of this. I won't leave it in my warmers the whole time because I feel like the longer that it's in the warmers, the more that I smell that note. But I will definitely warm through this and I just won't get any more. So all of our noses are different just because some of these are my favorite. They may not be your favorite. And then maybe some of the ones that I don't really care for will be your top favorite. And that's just the way it works. So I hope that was helpful though, that I hope that if you guys are kind of on the fence about what to get, I hope that this review will help just a little bit. But again, I mean, you could end up loving one that I didn't really care for, or this salted caramel cider that I just absolutely is my absolute favorite. I mean, I could see how there might be some people who don't care for it, that don't like caramel scents. You don't like things that lean towards bakery scents. So I'm sure it's not for everyone, but for me, this one's perfect. So this one's definitely my favorite. All right, so I think that's all I have for you today. I'm so excited to get this up. It's probably gonna take a little bit of time. I gotta edit the video, I gotta get it posted, but I'm hoping I can get it posted as soon as possible because I know some of you are probably still on the fence about whether to buy the bundle or not and you're trying to decide. So I will get this video up as soon as I can. And I really do appreciate you guys watching the video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy the video, I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing. And leave me a comment below. Like, let me know, after you guys have warmed these, for my consultants that have these and you bought the bundle, like after you warm them, did it still smell the same to you? Like, did your ranking stay the same, or was there one that surprised you? What's your favorite? And also with that Butterscotch Brittle, like, does it smell smoky to you? Is it just me? And with the warm winter night, am I the only one smelling some kind of rubber tire type smell? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just my nose, but that's just what I smell. I would love to hear your opinions. Now that I've done my warm reviews, I can't wait to go on YouTube and listen to everyone else's warm reviews. So now that I've done mine, I can watch those, and I can't wait to hear what everyone else's opinions are. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. That's all that I have for you today, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much. Bye.